Hey, everybody.
Hey.
We are back.
Yes, we
With
are.
another episode of
The ReVitalized podcast.
the ReVitalized podcast.
Podcast where we get revitalized.
This episode, we got a little bit more philosophical, I think, than normal.
Philosophical. Mm-hmm.
We got pretty deep on a couple different points and topics. And basically, this episode, we put together 10 core beliefs, 5 from each of us that we did not look at before.
Well, I listed actually more, but yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, we wrote down beliefs
Mm-hmm.
that we believe have made our lives way better.
Yes.
Like, are a big reason why our lives have gotten
Mm-hmm.
the way that they are,
Yep.
as good as they are,
Mm-hmm.
as awesome as our life is. And we believe a lot of that is because of how we believe and the way that we think, because that is going to dictate our behavior and our choices and a bunch of stuff like that. So we went into quite a bit of things. There's going to be some hidden gems in there.
Yeah,
if you guys are paying attention well enough.
Absolutely.
And just kind of, gives them a deeper look into the way that we think, into the way
Mhm.
that we live our lives.
To who they're
And-
listening to. And that's something that's just very important. And
Exactly.
we hope you guys...
And hopefully share as much stuff with you guys as we can that will also help you like it's helped us.
Yes. Beautiful. Okay.
Awesome.
Enjoy, you guys.
Enjoy the episode.
Thank you.
Like, comment, share, do your thing. We
Mhm.
appreciate it.
Welcome back to Revitalized.
Revitalizing podcast.
Yes.
The podcast where
We become revitalized.
that's
Yeah.
what the name implies.
Exactly. It's self-explanatory. Great.
Self-explanatory.
Hey. Anyways.
So we're back with another episode. And we got
Yes.
hoodies.
We have
We got
hoodies.
hoodies now.
Yes.
That's great.
Yes, in case you couldn't tell.
Natural cotton lined inside, not pink. That's my shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Cotton, so it's soft. Polyester on the outside, so it's breathable, but the polyester isn't making contact with your skin, so it's
Yes.
more natural focused. It's
Absolutely.
a healthy hoodie
Mhm.
because we
Healthier.
wouldn't have a hoodie that wasn't healthy. So
We only do healthy things around here.
absolutely.
Yep.
So
Okay.
great to see you guys again.
Yes.
This is gonna be-
Technically, they're only seeing us. We're not seeing them. But yes, continue, honey.
But we see them in our hearts.
Yes.
And it's going to be an awesome episode. We got some pretty special things planned. We're going to go over and share with you guys 10 core beliefs that we've held and we've lived our life on, and has made our lives a lot better because we
Yes.
believe them.
Mhm.
At
And-
least that's what we believe.
Yeah, and it's what we run our business off of too, because
Mhm.
like it's really important when you're getting to know people, when you're getting to, if you're looking to even learn information from them, even if you're just like reading our newsletter or watching, some of our videos here and there or whatever it is, it's important to sort of get to know the background and the core beliefs of who you are listening to. Because that's important. Like what you consume in every way, not just what you eat, not just what you drink, but, the information you listen to, the people you listen to, et cetera, the sources where you get things from matters. And so, we wanted to do this episode to kind of just tell you guys more about us and honestly, so you guys could know more about us in general and we can kind of share a little bit about what's most important to us. We just wanted to do this episode today just because, it's really important where you get your information from, like who you are learning from, even if you guys aren't in the Revitalized Academy, you're just watching like a video here or there, reading our newsletter or whatever, what you consume matters. It affects you, right? So, it's important to always know the source of where your information is coming from.
For sure.
And, getting to know like who the people, like what kind of people you're listening to are, that's one thing that Jess and I even take into account. Like even when we like listen to certain people like online or in person, like about business or about this or about that, it's very important to kind of know where a person's heart is at, like what their intention is, what their foundation is, this kind of thing. And sometimes that's not talked about enough.
Well, and also just if these beliefs have made our lives better, if they've improved the way that we live, the way that we run our company, the way that we handle our marriage, our relationship, if
our clients,
given us good results, then we want to share them with you guys because if they work for us, there's no reason why they can't work for you too.
Absolutely.
And so just we have made big improvements in our lives over the last several years.
Mm-hmm.
And we want to pass that on to our listeners, to our viewers, to our clients, to all of you guys, because, you know, everybody needs help. Everybody
Yes.
needs people that they can trust and listen to. And that's what we want to be for you guys.
Yeah. Good quality support.
Yes.
Cool. Awesome. Well, baby, why don't you start off with yours?
Oh, no.
No?
Ladies
No?
first.
Okay. So we both have 10 core beliefs that we wanted to share with you guys today. And we didn't show them to one another. I might have seen yours like
What?
briefly. No, have I? No, I
Just
had.
like
Okay, I didn't.
flipping
Never mind.
Uno all over
Okay,
it.
okay. Anyways, but we didn't show them to one another, and well, I mean, we already know pretty much what they are, but you know,
I
we're
hope
gonna we're gonna go into it, and we're gonna
Just
like
watch,
kind of
everyone
discuss
be the
it.
same.
Oh my God.
That'd
They're gonna be
hilarious.
very similar. Yeah, it's just, you know, that's one of the things that made us like such good friends too, is that, you know, and this something that's very, very wise to, you know, look for when you're looking for a partner, or for someone to be like a business partner, or you know, a friend. You know,
Mhm.
like, what do they believe? And, you know, if those core
How do they live
beliefs,
their life?
yeah,
What morals do they follow?
yeah,
How do they think? What are they going to do?
hmm
That kind of thing.
and you become like the people that you hang around, the people that you listen to.
Mhm.
So, you know, this is something that's very, very, very important in general, regardless of what, you know, we believe. It's just something that's important for every person to really, really inspect, really look into. Anyways,
Mhm.
so my first one is essentially, I believe that every soul matters. Every single human being is worth more than all of the accumulated wealth throughout all time combined. Literally, one human being is literally worth more than any price point. Like, you cannot put a price on a human life, on a human soul. Like, you cannot do it. It is absolutely priceless.
Mhm.
That is, you know, and it's just like having that core belief is so, so, so important, because, you know, and I've shared a little bit here and there online about how, you know, I grew up around people who didn't want to be here, who didn't want to be alive, who didn't value their lives. And, you know, the trajectory of where people head when they do not value their life is not a happy one. And, you know,
Nope.
if you can learn how to value your life, then you will fight for your life. And you learn how to...
And not just yours,
Yeah.
other people's lives as well.
Absolutely.
Like, if something's not valuable or important to you,
Mm-hmm.
doesn't really matter all that much, you're not going to do nothing about it. But
Yeah.
if we all build this intrinsic moral compass that life in general, that human life in general, has just inherent value, then people start naturally supporting each other, naturally
Yeah.
become more kind to each other, naturally want to lift each other up,
Mm-hmm.
because we understand that things are valuable. And just like if somebody buys a super expensive sports car or a really fancy ring or their dream home, they take care of it.
Mm-hmm.
They clean it regularly. They invest money to take care of it. They invest time to take care of it. They do all these things to maintain the value
Yeah.
of what they find valuable. And they're willing to do a lot of stuff for it. Good, bad. Some people will steal for valuable stuff. Some people
Yeah.
will kill for valuable stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Other people will give up their life for valuable stuff. And it's a really important thing, because, I mean, you totally nailed it, baby. Like,
Mm-hmm.
human life, it is the most valuable thing there is. Like,
Absolutely.
nothing comes close.
Absolutely. And that's another thing too, is like when you really value your life, you know, it's just like valuing your house or your car. You're not going to let just anyone around it, just
Mhm.
anyone near it, you know?
Totally.
And that's one thing that is like, we have to really have that for ourselves. It's like, we're not going to let just anyone be our friend. We're not going to like just listen to anyone, you know, we're going to really make sure that, you know, the things we allow into our lives, the things that we tolerate, the people that we allow into our lives, that there's, you know, it's something of quality. It's something that is good to have in our lives.
Mhm.
You know, you have so long here on earth, and it's just, it's so, so, so important. I don't want to go too long with this, but it's just, it's so, so, so important
It's
to
ridiculously important.
understand that you matter.
And not just you.
Yeah.
Yes, you matter,
Yes.
because you are alive.
Mhm.
You are a person. You have value. You
Mhm.
have gifts and talents, and you have amazing things about you.
And it's simply because you're alive.
Exactly. But
That's it.
universally, everybody has value.
Everyone does.
Every person has value because we believe we're all made in God's image. We all have the potential and the capacity for goodness, for love, for progress, to support and to do good in this world, to make the world a better place. A lot of people, honestly, don't use that potential. They don't make those kinds of choices. A lot of people do a lot of really horrendous, horrible things and are much harder to love than other people.
Yeah.
But that doesn't change the fact that every person has value.
Yes.
And it does not matter how much you've messed up, how many mistakes you've made, how many people you've let down, where you have or haven't gotten into your life. Your value does not change.
That's one thing that I really like to, because I like lead like a women's like wellness group, and something that we really talk about that's important to distinguish between is that there's the value of your life, and then there's the value of like your attitude and your character, you know, and a person's character can be trash, but then it can also be greatly improved and then automatically, you know, pristine and awesome. And, you know, they're a person you love to be around, but you know, that's something that they can control. That's something that they can, you know, earn and build and do this and that or break down or whatever. But your life was given to you. You don't get to decide the price tag or the value that's on your life. Regardless of how you feel or how other people have made you feel, you are truly, truly invaluable. You are truly, truly priceless. And, yeah, it's just very, 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 very important to understand, and that's something that we lead with. That's like one of our biggest foundations is we truly believe that every single person matters.
And believing that and living on that belief has completely changed the way that we see people, the way that we treat people.
Yes.
Especially with stuff where we're dealing with a maybe a more difficult client or you know, a higher stress type person, a higher maintenance type person. Yeah. And just no matter what they say or don't say, believing that they have value, believing that their life is worth fighting for, believing that their health is worth fighting for, it gives us patience, and it gives us the calmness, and it helps us to just stay loving and supporting people instead of getting upset and pissed off with them super easily, like I definitely used to. I used to have no patience, and it just has completely changed our lives because it's made our marriage better. It's made our friendships better. It's opened up tons of doors and tons of opportunity for us with people that we would never have met or been able to work with or been able to partner with if we didn't have that character trait of just we're going to love people simply because we're going to love people
because they're alive,
and then everything else is just extra. And we believe it'll do the same thing for you. Like it'll change the way that you see your spouse, your kids, your friends, your coworkers, your enemies. And it makes you a better person, and because you become a better person, your life becomes better because you are the common denominator in your life. Yes. You're the only constant in your life. It's you. So if you're not happy with it, you probably have a problem you're not happy with. And if you really, really like it, then you've probably done a lot of things well that you are happy with. You have a lot of things about yourself that you like, that you enjoy, because they've given you good results in your life. And for us, just, that was awesome. That's a great start. Just loving people and understanding that they have value is a huge part of just our success. Absolutely. Yeah.
And it's crazy. Sorry, just one last point, just because this is so big, you know, so like big. We live in a culture, in a world where it's so easy for people to judge another person. And it's like, oh, you know, all men are this, or all women are this, or all people are this, or whatever, you know, but it's like to be prejudiced against people due to our experiences or this or that. And it's like, that's a human being. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think like all this manifestation of hate is due to literally like the people not valuing their own lives, not valuing life itself, and just not understanding that it's like the value of another person's life, regardless of what they say, or if they, you know, are not being kind or good or this or that, they're just being like insert swear word, you know, but it's like at the same time it's like insert swear word. Sorry. That was really geeky. Anyways, I'm sorry. But it's just my point being is that, you know, it's like that is a human being. And I think if we actually took a second, we prioritized the pause, and, you know, we just considered the fact that the person that we're engaging with, you know, any group of people that we're talking about, it's like they're people. They're humans, regardless of this or that or whatever. You know, at the end of the day, we're all people. We're all human beings. And each human being has value. You know,
and then what that will do for your own psyche, your heart, your health, your attitude and perspective on life is just, it's next level.
It is. Okay. All right. Let's
totally next level. Okay. So mine first belief, and I wrote these down because I'm not as good at speaking as Ella, even though I try. We believe that the best way to live longer and perform better is by living a holistic lifestyle that makes your gut and brain health a part of the way that you live instead of just a program that you follow.
Yes.
That is a mistake that we have seen countless people make before they join the academy, before they start hearing some stuff from other people who say the same things that we do. And it's just they treat their health, they treat their diet, they treat their exercise, they treat their sleep, they treat all these different parts of what makes their body healthy like a hobby, like something that's just extra, it's tacked on. Okay, I have to make 20 minutes to go for a walk. I have to find time to prep food. I have to do all these kinds of things. And what we're saying is that you just make it a part of your lifestyle. Don't think of it like a program that you're following. It's not some checklist that you got written for you by a coach or that that you paid for because you want some help with stuff. It is just you are learning how to live a different way. Because the results that we are able to get people, whether that's with diseases or conditions or weight loss or whatever you want to put, that's great, but by itself doesn't really mean much. If we help somebody lose 100 pounds, but then that weight comes back on within a couple of years, doesn't really mean much. You know what I mean? Like if somebody can't maintain the results that they get, who cares? You know, it's really not that big of a deal. And so living your lifestyle in a way that supports your health, supports your brain, supports your gut, supports your insert whatever your goal is, supports your family, supports your finances, supports all, like, just don't think of these things like an extra thing, like a chore, like an extra added onto your schedule, to your routine. It's just a part of the way that you live. It's like brushing your teeth. It's like going to bed. It's like eating food. You can't ignore it. You can't avoid it. It's not an optional thing. If you just treated food like a hobby and only ate some days and didn't eat the other days, 1, you're going to be hungry all the time. 2, you're not going to be very healthy. And 3, you're probably going to end up having a really terrible relationship with food, right? If you treat your kids like a hobby, some days you parent, some days you don't parent. You treat your job like a hobby. Some days you go in, some days you don't. Like nothing works well if people don't give the task the effort that it requires to do well at it, right? And we believe that your health is an unbelievably important part of your life and your future and everything else, because if you don't have your health, your options are extremely limited. Like there's not much you can do. We've worked with people that are on that are in a hospital bed, that are given a ticket on their life. They're given a finite amount of time that they're expected to stay living. And thankfully, most of those people are still here. And that diagnosis was wrong. But those people, they don't think about going to travel. Like they dream of it, they imagine it. They're like, oh, that'd be so nice. That'd be so great. Mm-hmm. But it's not like a part of their plan. Doesn't matter how much money they have. Doesn't matter how well their business is. Doesn't matter how many kids they have or don't have. If they're sick and their body is broken, they don't dream about those kinds of things on a daily basis. They think about getting up and being able to go for a walk without pain. Yeah. They think about being able to look in the mirror and not have to fight back tears because they hate what they've done to themselves. If you don't have your health, your future has one path forward, and that is pain and suffering. But if you do have your health, you have options. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
You can start a business. You can not start a business. You can travel. You can never travel. But the point is that you have choices. You have options, which you do not have if you don't have your health, period. So we believe that making your health and thinking about it this way and making it a part of your life, it's not like just, okay, am I going to watch Netflix? Am I going to meal prep? And you have to choose between the two.
Well, technically you could do both.
Exactly.
But anyway,
you can do both. But the point is that you're not just following a program over and over and over again, this daily routine over and over and over again. And then as soon as something doesn't go according to the plan, it's just all over and done with because the program didn't work. It's not a program. It's maybe a program in the beginning. It's a plan in the beginning. It's some support. It's some help. It's some advice. It's some stuff that you do on a daily basis and you build routines around in the beginning. But it becomes just the way that you live.
Yeah.
It's not something that you do. It's just who you are. Because that's the only thing that we believe will actually give people real lifelong health.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as soon as you stop doing stuff, it stops working.
It's not a diet, it's a lifestyle.
Exactly.
but actually a lifestyle, because we don't just like help teach people like how to eat or how to drink or all these things like, or exercise or whatever. It's to do with all 6 areas of life. The next core belief that I wanted to talk about is how every nutrient matters, and that shouldn't just be ignored or ridiculed based on culture or trends. And something that, you know, a lot of women especially have seen, men too, of course, but a lot of women especially have seen, you know, all throughout the years, is people being told, oh, fat is terrible for you, or meat is bad for you, or now they're saying plants are bad for you. And it's just, it goes all over the place. And at the end of the day, you know, and it's just, this is something that we truly like know for a fact, is that, you know, the body is essentially a complex biological machine. Like, you are not your body. Like, if I like did surgery on your brain right now and looked inside of your head, I couldn't see your dreams and aspirations. Like, this is not you. This is just what you're in. This is just your shell. It's just your avatar. It's not your soul, you know, it's not your spirit. It's not you. It's not your personality. And, you know, when we just try to take matters into our own hands and try to manually switch up and change something that is natural, something that has been around for a very long time, you know, our bodies just require what they require. It needs fiber, it needs protein, it needs saccharides, which is sugar, it needs all these essential nutrients. It needs the sunshine, you know, like there's just things that have always worked, even if there's been times like throughout human history where people couldn't get access to certain things, and they happened, you know, to survive or to, you know, compensate and make something work. You know, it's like your body just needs what it needs. And if we make, you know, the entirety of health just about our diets, then we're not actually going to have true health. It has to do with everything. But in terms of just, you know, what we're eating, if we make so much about trends or culture, then we're just going to feel lost again. You know, the yo-yo diets and the body shaming and this and that. It's like, you know, your body is beautiful. It's incredible. It can take you so far. And, you know, just like we give our vehicles what they need, we need to give our bodies what they need. And that's it. You know, we shouldn't just say like, oh, no to all meat because this one person doesn't do well on it. Well, hold on. What's the context behind that? Oh, no to a bunch of vegetables because, you know, these people didn't do well on it. Well, hold on. What's the context behind that? You know? And a lot of these studies and situations and stuff, if you actually look into it, a lot of times what happened was they said that, like, you know, I'll pick on fat, for example. You know, for the long time there, people were saying fat was really bad for you. And we know today that it's one of the most essential things for you. It's extremely good for you. It's extremely necessary. It's extremely necessary. People, like, all throughout history have eaten plenty of fat and they've needed it and they've thrived on it because it's something that is very, very good for you, that your body needs, your brain requires it. Well, your whole body requires it, but you need fat, okay? Anyways, but for a long time, they were saying that fat was really, really bad for you. Anyway, so there was this study not that long ago, a few decades ago, where basically there is a huge rise in heart conditions and people are trying to figure out what happened. And they looked at 7 different countries, hence why it's called the seven country study. And basically they said their, you know, conclusion was fat was bad, but they were looking at things like pastries and other types of food. Yes, they have fat in them, but they have more than just fat in them.
They got tons of sugar.
They have sugar. They have all
calories
sorts
with very little nutrition.
They have tons of things.
Fillers, like dyes, preservatives.
Yeah. There's a lot of different elements to you know, to these studies or what happened or how many people were used or all these things. And so my point being is like, just because it's like there's this new trend in evilizing like a certain nutrient or category of food or whatever, it's probably wise to take a look at it and to not just go with the culture, because usually going with the culture, you know, isn't good for us. And there's been endless circumstances and endless examples throughout history where that has been the case. You know, just look at like,
look at culture.
yeah, like
Culture is
like,
overweight, depressed, lacking finances, divorcing, angry. I don't want culture.
Yeah, like why?
I don't want to be like that, so I'm not going to follow that.
People put popularity on this pedestal, but it's like, why would you want the approval of a bunch of people? You know, when there's a lot of people, there's a lot of you know, societal norms that aren't right, that aren't good for you, that aren't beneficial to really anyone. Just because they're normal or just because it's like trendy or this doesn't mean that we should go with the flow. You know, dead fish go with the flow, and I don't want to be one of those. I want to swim against the current like a good old fashioned salmon. So,
booyah, baby.
So
salmon
yeah,
that'll freaking delicious. Side note: salmon are so good. I love salmon.
Oh man! All right, why don't you go to your next one?
Okay, sounds good. My next belief is that your mental wellness directly limits your longevity, and you cannot separate your mind from your body. You cannot separate the health of your mind from the health of your body. And I use that word limit very specifically because we have met and worked with tons of people on both sides of the coin. One, they live a very healthy lifestyle. They have a clean diet. They exercise regularly. They take care of their sleep. Like they take care of them. So like they do good stuff. And like, I'm sure, yeah, there's a ton of gaps missing. There's certain things they do better than others. And, you know, they needed help. Otherwise, that's why they joined the program in the first place. But they were living an objectively above normal level of health. Okay. And their bodies were still very, very, very broken. Still very out of balance. Still very
dysregulated.
Unregulated. Exactly. And on the other side of the coin, we've seen people that live a pretty not something you'd ever want to admit to kind of lifestyle as far as their health is concerned. Like diet, garbage. Exercise, never. Sleep, horrendous. Like everything wrong on paper. But they just naturally have a very bubbly personality, kind of like you. They're like, they're smiley, they're giggly, they laugh at everything. They're just naturally optimistic. They're grateful about a lot of things in life, that kind of stuff. And they're way healthier than they should be. And a lot of that is going to come down to their mindset, to their perspective on life, to their mental health, their mental wellness. If you're a naturally more optimistic, grateful, faith-filled, loving person, you got a lot more wiggle room with your lifestyle to keep your body healthy than somebody else who's just more pessimistic, negative, depressed, angry, quick to getting annoyed and grumpy and blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. And we've seen it over and over and over again, like many, many people that on one side, we've had to show them how to physically live healthy. And on the other side, we've had to show them how to mentally live healthy.
Yeah.
And without both, you're just doing this constant juggle session. And every year that you get older, every decade that you get older, you are just juggling more and more and more. And eventually something's going to collapse.
Yeah.
The juggling session is going to stop. And it's about bringing your health physically and mentally into harmony with each other. And that's why we talk so much about gut health and brain health, because we believe like that's the core. You know, if you can get that part right, if you can get your gut functioning really well, you can get your brain functioning really well, and
including
both of them
mindset.
In harmony, exactly, and communicating and supporting the rest of your body, there's nothing in you physically or mentally that will not be improved by that. Whether we're talking about digestion, something super obvious, talking about exercise, talking about sleep, talking about hormones, talking about the way that you think, your perspective, your predispositions to happiness or sadness, everything.
Mental and physical health go hand in hand.
Totally.
And it's just your mind literally transcribes the world for your body. So, you know, your emotions are literally symptoms of your mindset. Where your mind is at, that's how you're going to feel. So if you're thinking on positive things, right, you're focused on gratitude, how much you love someone or something like this, then you're going to feel good. If you're
Yes.
focusing on the opposite, you're not going to feel so good.
Exactly.
And that's the information that you're feeding your body daily,
Totally.
every moment per moment. And that affects your physiology. It does. People don't realize how important or how much one affects the other. But, you know, they both matter and they both are so heavily connected.
Yeah.
Like you can't separate it.
They limit each other.
Yeah.
You know, it's like this constant tug of war, this teeter-totter where if your physical health is all the way down here and dragged down here, it's going to drag your mental health down with it.
Yes.
And on the flip side, if your mental health is super low and way down here, but your body is relatively healthy, it's going to get dragged down. And either way, if your weak link, physical or mental, is going up or going down, it's going to affect the other one. And they always go together and they always eventually balance out. And you cannot ignore that. You cannot avoid that. You can't out-eat a messed up, chaotic, stressed out mindset.
Yes.
And you cannot outthink and gratitude a terrible, lazy diet. It's just, it's impossible. And that spreads out into everything else. You know, we're talking about sleep or hormones or hydration or detoxification, doesn't matter. Everything's connected, okay? That's why it's all holistic, right? And just because life is hard, because the world is a hard place, raising a family is hard, running a business is hard, having a marriage is hard, being a loving, strong, kind person under chaotic, stressful circumstances is hard.
That is difficult.
There's constant hardness in our life, and mostly that's usually going to affect our minds, right? And so if you cannot get your mind right, if you cannot get your thinking clear, your perspective focused, if you cannot get your mentality figured out, it's going to limit your health. You will never be able to out-eat where your mind is at. And you will never be able to outthink where your body is at. You have to get them in harmony.
Yes.
But it's got to start with your mind. Maybe not start with your mind, but it's got to be a huge focus on where your mind is at. Because if you don't get your mind fixed up, you will never stick with the diet long term. You will never stay going to the gym long term. You will never permanently get rid of the cigarettes. You will never permanently give up the alcohol. You'll never permanently stop getting angry and getting into fear and getting all these things that just poison our body. You can't just do the physical part and ignore the mental. And you can't just do the mental part and ignore the physical. And whichever one you are ignoring the most is going to be your biggest limiter. It's going to be the biggest weight on your ankle, tying you down, dragging you to the bottom of the sea.
Absolutely.
And so we just, it's your limit. It will literally limit your longevity. If your mind is poisoned, if you're angry and afraid and in constant just mental chaos up here, like I was for a huge part of my life. And until I got that fixed up, my body was never going to reach its full potential. Physically, emotionally, spiritually. I would never be the man that I am now and that I will be 10 years from now and then 20 years from now and then 30 years from now if I did not put a lot of work into my mind. It is massive. It is humongous. So you have to get that figured out
because a big brain.
That's how you change your behavior, is by learning new stuff, rewiring your brain, getting rid of all the gross, just messed up programming, the limiting beliefs, the insecurities, the crazy things that we've all been taught that don't make any sense and only do anything besides make your life worse. Get that garbage out. That's what will set your body free.
Absolutely. So my next core belief is talking about the holistic approach. And, you know, we believe that that's the only approach to take when it comes to truly improving a person's health, when it comes to
making a real
difference. Yeah. To them actually reaching wholeness. And that's essentially what every person wants, is they want wholeness in their lives. They want, you know, every part of life good. They want security and strength and, you know, accomplishment in all 6 areas of life. And those 6 areas are spiritual, physical, emotional, mental, social, and financial. You know, they want to be winning in all these areas. And it's the only way to go about actually helping someone. Because, you know, one thing that we really focus on around here is longevity. And if you only focus on a person's diet or their exercise or this or that, but you don't help deal with the root causes. And I'm not just talking about like physiological root causes, that too, but also like mental, emotional, like social root causes, right? Like a
For
person's
sure.
like self-limiting
We've
beliefs
met
or
a lot of people that know quite a bit about nutrition. Diet's still terrible. So what's the
yeah,
problem?
exactly.
It
Exactly.
maybe an accountability issue. Maybe a self-love, self-respect issue. Maybe it's a time management issue. They know what to do, but they don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
They don't know how to fit it in their schedule. They don't know how to prepare properly, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. It's a financial issue. They don't know how
They
to
can't afford to eat the
budget.
way that they think they
Yeah.
should.
Yeah. They don't know how to budget well enough. They don't have, and the reality is like, we truly believe that health is a human right. It's
100%.
something that everyone can do. And maybe one person, if they can, if they have more time or maybe more money or this or that, maybe they can do like a little bit further or whatever. But, at the end of the day, every single person can be healthy and has the right to be healthy. Every single one, every single one. And, that requires taking the holistic approach though, because if you want truly a lifelong, lifelong health, then you have to look at all parts of your life in order to ensure that it's important to be strategic. It's important to, have your own guarantees put in place to, to guarantee longevity, to guarantee long lasting results. Like a simple diet plan is just not enough for a person to, reach the level of health that they want to for the time that they want to have it, and if we want people to really have long lasting, like lifelong lasting results. And in order for that to happen, we can't just tell them what to do. We have to teach them what to do so they understand, so they know, so that it is, like Justin said earlier, a lifestyle. It is part of their life.
Yes.
It's not something that they're going to take out of their life, like, every regular average person always brushes their teeth. That's not something they're just going to take out of their lifestyle. That, hopefully, exactly. I was just thinking that too. Like, yeah, sure. You know what I mean? Like, it's just something that's just going to happen. They're just going to eat. They're just going to sleep. There's certain things that people will, if it's part of their lifestyle, they're just going to do. And that's where we want people's health to be at. That's where we want people's thinking to be at. That's where we want people's relationships to be at, where it's, they have the strength and the resilience and the knowledge and the wisdom and the support in order to really follow through,
And it's just because once our lives, once we started implementing these beliefs and doing these things and making these changes for ourselves, our lives got better.
Yes. Much better.
A lot better, wildly better. So we just believe that if other people do the things that we've done, they're going to notice some benefit too.
Well, we've definitely seen that happen again and again.
Yeah.
But
we've proven it with the academy, with all the clients, with all the families, all the people,
all the stories, all the YouTube videos we have, the testimonials.
Exactly. So it's just, this is something, looking at problem solving. Could be a health condition, could be a financial problem, could be a limiting belief, a mental issue, an insecurity. It could be a relationship, marriage problem, whatever. Our ability to look at problems from the holistic perspective and not just the one thing that is the most obvious has been a massive asset. And it's because we've been taught to think this way. We've been taught to believe this stuff. And once we start teaching our clients how to believe this and how to think this way and how to do these kinds of things, they start doing the same stuff. I mean, we just had a growth meeting yesterday, and one of our ladies, she started to feel a little bit under the weather over the weekend, and she tied it back to some stress and some anger that she was dealing with a couple of days before it started, because she had something come up in her life, and she had some stress that was going on, and it just wore her immune system down. But it wasn't like, oh crap, okay, I just got sick because I got sick.
Yeah.
There's actual answers, and there's critical thinking involved, and people are learning how to problem solve more effectively because they're able to expand. They're getting their thinking out of the box. See, I found it. And that's at the core what the holistic viewpoint does. Yeah. We're looking at stuff from multiple angles, multiple perspectives, multiple solutions, and putting it all together into one cohesive system.
Absolutely. We don't believe that there are any coincidences in life.
Nope.
And that includes your health.
Mm-hmm.
There's always a reason why.
Absolutely.
And just, summing it up to something that doesn't lead you to a resolve, doesn't lead you to a solution, isn't the answer. It's
Nope.
it's just a variable. There's lots of variables, but what you're looking for, what that root cause is the thing that once, dealt with, everything else will heal after that.
Totally.
Will work after that, basically.
For sure. My next core belief, and this can be a little bit personal, I believe that you are not a man unless you are strong and kind. And you cannot be either of those things unless you are filled with love. That is just something that I have seen over and over and over and over and over again in my life. 1, men have to be strong. 2,
Yes.
men have to be kind.
Yes.
3, if you're not a man of love, you won't be strong and you won't be kind, period. End of story. There's just no way around that. If you do not have a lot of love in your heart for the people around you, for your family, for your wife, for your children, for your employees, your clients, your friends, you will not be strong for them. You will not be kind to them. You will break easily under pressure. You will not work hard enough to get really, really great things done. And what you do get done will not last because at some point your mind or your heart or your body will break. I just believe that because that's what I've seen. The best men I've ever seen in my life have been the most loving men. The strongest, most powerful men I've ever seen in my life have been the most loving men.
Yes.
The kindest, most respected, most disciplined men I've ever seen in my life have been the most loving men I've ever seen in my life. And so that's what I'm striving to be for myself. I want to be a man of love because that makes me stronger, because love is the strongest thing ever. It makes me kinder, makes me encouraging more to people, more supporting to people. I want to be a man that people respect, not because like they have to, because I'm a respectable human. I do respectable things. I make other people's lives better, all those kinds of things. And I know that is not possible unless I make my foundation love. And it's not like the ooey gooey, just constantly feeling, talking about emotions, talking about all these like typical lovey-dovey things. Love is sacrifice.
Yeah.
Love is a choice that you make over and over and over again to put the people around you first.
It's a heart position. It's a
Exactly.
standard.
It's a lot of loving stuff doesn't feel good. A lot of loving things are not pleasant and ooey gooey and happy and always just this like fairy tale Valentine's Day version of love, But when you are willing to put other people above yourself and you're willing to love them, even if it's not easy or fun or it doesn't feel good, that takes some serious strength.
Yes.
And I'm not saying I'm freaking perfect by any means. I'm just saying that's where I'm going because I won't stop till I get there.
Amen. And
every single time, universally, when I've seen men, this works for women too, but I'm a guy, so I pick on dudes. When I've seen men get more love, become more loving, focus more on love, prioritize love, they have instantaneously become stronger, become kinder, become smarter, wiser.
Yes.
They've become more respected. They've become more accomplished. Their wives look happier. Their children look happier. Their employees are excited to come to work, not dreading going to work and only going there for the paycheck. Like, if you want to be a leader, which I believe most men want to be leaders, it's just kind of wired into us, you got to be a loving man first. Because if you don't have that strength and kindness, nobody's going to want to follow you. And if you're leading people by force that don't want to be led, you're a dictator. So if you want to be a man, like I do, then you got to be more loving. Because that makes you stronger. That makes you kinder. That makes you dependable. That means that you'll show up when you need to. That means that you'll put in the late hours. That means that you'll do the stuff that's required to do the hard things that men are built to do, because love is what gives you the strength to do it.
Love is all you need.
Love is all you need.
Absolutely.
And again, I believe all that same stuff applies to women.
Yes. Yes.
But I'm going to pick on the dudes because I'm a dude and I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, but I'm not stupid enough to pick a fight with the opposite sex. Not L, just women in general. So if you want to be a man, focus more on love. Focus more on strength. Focus more on kindness. And I promise you, people will look at you different.
Amen.
People will talk about you when you're not in the room differently. Your new opportunities will come into your life that you never thought possible because you are a better caliber of human.
Absolutely.
And I believe that.
I believe that too. And I believe it's the same for women.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, that the strength that comes from, choosing to be selfless, choosing to be a leader, choosing to be strong, the tender strength that comes from that, it takes an immense amount of strength to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And strength is really what every person wants and every person needs.
And it's what you got to have in this life.
You have to, like, honestly.
You got to be strong.
It's not going to get easier. Tough. You just got to get stronger.
For sure. And like there's this, like, especially with men, there's this huge conversation going on about like using anger as motivation and fuel. And if you want to lift heavy weight, you got to get angry. You got to get mad at the weights and blah, 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 all this kind of stuff. And yeah, like anger can be heavily motivating.
The weights never did anything to you.
People have done some crazy things out of anger, out of hatred, out of fear.
Mm-hmm.
But you have never once heard about some dude or some chick picking up a 3,000 pound, 6,000 pound van off of their enemy. They pick them up off their children. They pick them up off their spouses. They pick them up off their best friend. You never heard of a human being crawling out of the woods for miles and miles and miles for days on end after getting attacked by a bear because they wanted to get revenge on some dude. They did it because they wanted to see their family again. They did it because they wanted to kiss their wife, hug their kids. Like, you don't hear these stories of people accomplishing ridiculously inhuman level feats motivated by anger and hatred.
There's some stories for sure,
but
absolutely,
not nearly as many as there are of people doing stuff like average Joes, regular old folks, soccer moms, working dads doing stuff out of love.
Yeah,
you do not hear nearly the same amount of stories or as crazy.
Absolutely. Well, there's that, but it's also another thing too is like anger and stress and like revenge and all these things that will depreciate you. That will depreciate your strength. It may be a form of fuel, for sure.
But you get drained.
But you get drained.
You get drained once you're done.
But with love and doing something for others, it gives to you. It doesn't take because love only gives.
Absolutely.
If it's something that takes, then it's not love.
Totally.
And like that's it. It will give you strength, and it will keep giving you strength. That's what love does. Moving forward, anyone can be healthy, regardless if you've been dismissed, regardless if you've been told like, oh, it's all in your head, or this or that, or how long it's been, or the family you come from, the background, anything, regardless of how many zeros are in your bank account or anything, anyone can be healthy.
Absolutely.
Because like we said, like being healthy is a human right. It is your right to be healthy.
Is still beating?
Yes.
It's not too late.
If you're alive, then there's hope.
Totally. And we've heard of stories of people coming back to life. They've been dead for a few minutes. They've been dead for an hour, and their heart starts again. Somebody gives them CPR. They get struck by lightning. Whatever it takes.
Just struck by lightning.
In some cases, even if your heart is no longer beating, it's still not too late. So no matter what situation you're in, hope's never gone.
Don't give up hope so easily. It's never. Like there's been so many people that we've worked with who had everyone around them just, talk down on their dreams to be healthier, to heal from what they've been through, from their trauma, from their ailments, from like anything. We've had so many people. You got one way out.
It involves surgery, chemicals, or borderline freaking lobotomy.
Yep.
And none of them are fun.
None of them are fun, for sure. And so many people have, done this and done that. And it's so easy for, them to give up hope. But all that means essentially, just like any other part in life, is that, just the methods that you have been encouraged to take have not been effective for your particular situation. That doesn't mean that you can't get better. That just means what you've tried so far hasn't worked. How many times have we heard of people, for example, like let's look at business, for example. How many times have we heard of people trying like 67 times or this many times, or they spent decades doing this, and then they ended up being one of like the biggest restaurant chains or biggest businesses,
baby.
or Yeah.
It's called 40 because it took them 40 tries to get it right.
Like, it's just, just what's good things in life are worth fighting for. And it can be a long process. It can be a long time. It can be extremely frustrating and discouraging and this and that. But it's like, it's possible.
And your health is one of those things.
Yes.
It is one of those good things worth fighting for.
Is.
And
really
we've seen people in literal life or death situations come back and make complete recoveries. Some of those people are sharing their stories on our website or on our YouTube channel or like publicly for everyone else to hear and get hope from. So if they can do it, there's no reason you can't.
Why not you? Sometimes I like to tell people is like, you need to learn how to tell the impossible, I'm possible. You are. And it's just, the thing is like, you know, you can see, yes, I did. There's a, anyways, you can look, you know, regardless of the situation you're facing, you know, you're not the only one in history that has ever faced this situation.
No.
You know, like, you're the only you that has ever faced this situation. But you can do a lot of things. There's a lot of things that you can do. You just need the right resources, the right support, the right this, the right that. But it's not unattainable.
Totally.
You know?
And it's not even that it's attainable. It's oftentimes a lot easier and simpler.
Yes.
And it comes a lot faster than we all convince ourselves it will. Like, there have been, I can almost promise you, I don't know what your problems are. We don't know who you are watching right now. And your problems might be like earth-shattering stuff, like world-breaking, relationship-ending, family-destroying type stuff. I mean, it happens to a lot of people, and it's terrible every single time.
It is.
But I can promise you, there has been someone, most likely several people, probably a ton of people, who have been in a worse situation than you're in right now, with fewer resources, worse support, terrible time in history, lack of Wi-Fi, lack of a refrigerator, whatever. And they've done more and got out of where you're at from a worse spot with less help than you have right now. So if they can do it, then you can too. Doesn't mean it's going to be easy. Doesn't mean it's going to happen in a day or a week or even a year. But it means that if they can do it, you can do it. And so if you're going to live, if you're going to survive, if you're going to continue to wake up day after day after day, you might as well spend your time doing something and fighting for something that will make your next day better, even if it's hard. Because in the long run, it's a hell of a lot harder to spend 30 years miserable and unhappy and depressed and broke and not having the freedom or the happiness or the joy or the fulfillment that you want out of the life that you thought you could never have. And you're capable of a heck of a lot more than you think you are.
Absolutely.
So fight for it. Fight for your potential. Use it. And the more you use it, the better it will be. And you'll be able to do so much more than you've been told you can do, because other people have done it already. So there's all the proof you need. If somebody else can do more with less, then you can do it too. Period. Doesn't matter how stupid you think you are, how slow you think you are, how weak or insecure you might think you are, how many disadvantages you think are holding you back. If somebody else has done more with less, then you can do your thing too. And it's like, if you're, like you said, like putting your hope in the method or the technique or the thing that you're doing to get yourself out of it, that can work.
Yeah.
Oftentimes it doesn't, because things never go according to plan. And most people, when things do start going wrong, give up and they fail.
Yeah.
Because they quit. Not because they didn't do well, just they fail because they quit. That's what makes somebody fail or not fail. And instead of that, if you put your hope in just the fact that even if this plan, even if this technique, even if this method, even if whatever it is that you're doing right now or doing next doesn't work, if you just know and you keep that hope that it's possible, you'll find the next plan. You'll find the next thing. You'll find the better option, whatever it is. And if you just don't quit fighting, eventually you will find what works. Could be the first thing, could be the 100th thing. But if you just never lose hope that there's better, that there's more, that there's a longer future, that there's more answers, more knowledge, more resources, better tools, better help, a better team, whatever it is that you're looking for, whatever it is that you need, if you just don't give up hope that that thing can be accomplished, then whatever you're trying right now can succeed or not succeed, but it doesn't change the fact that at the end of the day, you still win.
Amen.
You know?
Beautiful.
I believe that sales is a skill everyone should learn and get really good at because it allows anybody to regain control over their income. And your income is, in the grand scheme of things, very important. Don't get me wrong. Money, especially in this economy, if you live in Canada, if you live in America, if you live in a third world country, money is like oxygen. You need it to live. You need it to do really anything. You need it to drive anywhere, to fly anywhere, to buy anything, to make any kind of change or adjustment in your life. Like, you need money, right? But out of all of the important essential things that you need in your life, money's the least important out of the important things. But when you learn how to sell, it's not just your income. You learn how to get in control of the trajectory and the direction of your life. And it really, really helps make your life better. I mean, we would not be where we were at if I did not learn how to sell, period. If I didn't know how to sell her on the idea that I could be a good husband and a good man and a good father, and I could build a business and I could give us a future, and we could work together and make this whole thing happen, wouldn't have happened. My finger would be bare, okay? If you do not learn how to sell your boss on giving you a promotion or a pay raise, it's probably going to take a hell of a lot longer than it should.
Yep.
If you don't learn how to sell yourself on how cool you are and awesome you are and how much you can do. Like, it's not just about making sales to make money. Sales is a life skill, period.
Yes.
Sales is just your ability to help other people make better decisions for themselves. Use your influence, use your persuasion to help them make a decision that will make their life better. That is sales. Anything else is not sales. It's just a con, okay? So if you want to get in control over your income, which will give you a huge amount of freedom for your future, learn sales. Start with sales. I don't care what you want to do. You might want to be an engineer, an IT guy. You might want to do something that has nothing to do with directly selling to another person, but the skill set of sales translates to everything. And yes, we are a health company. This is a family-run business, but it's a business, and sales is an incredibly important part of that business. And a big part of your health is your finances.
Yes.
And a big part of your life is your finances. And yes, we are holistic coaches. We focus on nutrition and exercise and all that kind of stuff. But a huge part of what we do is, like Elle talked about earlier with the holistic viewpoint, is helping people to gain control over their life, have a healthy life. And if you are extremely poor, your options for health are very, very limited.
Yeah.
We live in a world where an apple that hasn't been sprayed with a bunch of chemicals and a bunch of stuff that may or may not cause cancer is more expensive than an apple that has been sprayed with a bunch of chemicals and grown in very toxic, poison
questionable soil
with messed up methods and a bunch of stuff. And that's
questionable methods.
That's just the reality of the world right now.
Yeah.
So if somebody wants to make healthier choices, it usually means they spend more money in the short term.
Yeah,
in the long term,
we do live in the most toxic, polluted time in human history, you guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
In the long term, they save tons of money on medical bills and mental stress and a bunch of stuff that won't happen to them because their health never gets to that point where they have to pay for sickness. But in the short term, it does require money.
Yeah. But you know what, like even the U.S., sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, but like even literally in the U.S., you guys, like the U.S. spends more on treating chronic conditions than they do on their military.
Which is nuts.
That's huge.
It's insane.
So when we're talking about chronic conditions, we're talking about preventable conditions.
We're talking about the U.S. They're known for their military.
Exactly.
That's their thing. That's America. We got guns and tanks.
Yeah, exactly. You know? And there's like an eagle in the background there.
Exactly. and they spend more on chronic conditions, not just like acute stuff, not like over the counter. I have a headache. I have some pain. We're talking about chronic conditions, which means they've been affecting people for a long period of time.
Yep.
That's whack.
That's
super whack.
Yeah.
And again, because of that's just the reality of the world. Getting in control of our finances is an incredibly important thing to make sure that we have a future, to make sure that we are not forced into a box to make choices where we don't want to make because we don't have the money to pay for the other options. And I'm telling you right here, right now, sales is the foundation of that freedom.
Yeah.
You can do anything, sell anything, be a part of any business. And if you know how to sell, you can make money. And the thing that's amazing about sales is that you're not limited just by your paycheck. If you know how to sell stuff, you are in total control over the amount of money you make. And yes, that control also gives you the responsibility of, if you really suck at sales and don't make them, your income goes down. You don't have that security like you do with the paycheck.
Yeah.
But the potential is so much greater.
Mm-hmm.
So I tell anybody who's in a financial hard spot, who's young, who's up and coming, who's entrepreneurial, who's motivated, like, guys, learn sales. Learn how to sell with honor and integrity. Learn how to find a good product, a good service, and help other people make the decision to use that product or service because you genuinely, wholeheartedly believe that it will make their life better and it will be worth more than they spent on it. And every time you do that, make sure that you have a way to get paid for it, and you will make money. And that money will give you freedom to choose healthy options, to choose family-friendly options, to choose safe stuff for your future, to drive a vehicle that you're not stressed about exploding, to live in a home where you're not listening to gunfire all the time, to do things that are important to you. Because every one of those things requires money. Like, it's just the way that it is.
Yes.
And if you can learn how to sell, you can learn how to get in control of your money. Yes, and that's great. That's important. But you can also gain confidence in yourself. You can learn how to influence other people to do other things for themselves that has nothing to do with money, to make good lifestyle decisions, to think correctly about stuff, to get themselves out of freaking holes of just mental torment because you know how to explain things and sell with your words and with your influence a different way of thinking, a different way of living, and that will make their life better. Because that's the point of sales. It's to make other people better. Sales is a service.
Yes.
Sales is not, I want to make a sale so I get paid. The paycheck is a bonus of the sale. It's not the point of it. You're doing it because it's for the person that you're selling, not because you make the money. That's just a necessary bonus. Okay? And so I just really wanted to mention that because, you know, we always do our best to stay as practical as we can.
Yeah.
And give people real world, in the dirt, this will make your life better type advice.
Yeah, in the dirt advice.
In the dirt advice.
That's the only kind of advice to give. Keep going.
And,
you're on a roll, babe.
Thanks. And I've just not seen sales and someone's ability to sell make their life worse. You know,
Yeah,
you need
true.
to have
when they do it right.
you need to have the right thing that you're selling. You need to have honor and integrity. But again, if you don't have that, then it's not sales. It's just being a con man or a con woman. But it's a huge asset. And I truly believe that whether somebody ever wants to personally make a sale for money or not, sales as a skill set will make everybody's life better.
Absolutely.
It has the potential to make everybody's life better across the board.
Absolutely.
Young, old, man, woman, big, small, people.
Just people in general.
Just people.
Absolutely. Let's go into our next belief. So
Okay.
We'll tie up with probably two more. Our last one is pretty much the exact same.
Cool.
It's
this. I think it's the same because I looked over at the notes, but it's a little bit different.
It's a little bit different. Yeah,
and then I'll add my part, and then we'll bring it home.
Okay. So we believe that basically our communities and families can be healed and can be healed, and becoming healthier is a huge component of that. You know, the thing is like people have been suffering for a really long time. People, you know, we've seen our communities, we've seen our culture essentially just get worse. We've seen less unity. We've seen less harmony. We've seen less happiness overall. We've seen, you know, depression go up, anxiety go up. We've seen, you know, just overall, like a lot of things become a lot worse. And, you know, there's healing that needs to happen in our families, on the individual level too, of course, in families, in marriages, and
the institutional level.
Institutional
we got a lot
level.
Of systems that I don't think many people are happy with right now. I'm one of those people.
Me too. There's a lot of things that need to just be better. You know, and a huge component of that, you know, for communities, for families, is people becoming healthier. You know, when you become healthier, your mental health improves, right? Because that's part of becoming healthier. You know, your thinking improves, the way you see the world, the way you treat other people, the way you treat yourself. You know, your relationships improve. Like it makes everything better. In order for healing to happen, you know, it's just like all of the things that we already listed, right? People have to become like stronger. They have to value life. They have to have hope. They have to believe in themselves. They have to, you know, have so much of this overt accumulation of toxicity removed from their bodies. Like they need what they need. And, you know, just what we're seeing today in so many societal problems, a huge component of that is due to the lack of health.
Yeah.
And the only way to heal is through a holistic approach. It's only through natural means.
For sure.
Yeah.
And adding on to that belief, we also believe that every family across the board, white families, black families, rich families, poor families, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Every family.
Every family.
Again, going back to that first belief of all human life has value and it matters. All families deserve to have freedom.
Yes.
Deserve to be able to make choices that they believe are best for them.
Yes.
Period. And not have all the roadblocks that prevent them from exercising their freedom. And because of that, we believe that you need three things to have freedom. You need to have your health. Hopefully we made that clear. If you do not have your health, you have one option and you have one focus, and that is to get back your health. You need to have wealth, whether that's financial, whether that's wealth of family and support around you, wealth of opportunities, you know, wealth in multiple areas, but specifically finances. Because if you want to drive a safer vehicle, you have to spend more money, because safe vehicles are more expensive than cheap, crappy, rundown, dangerous vehicles. Just the way it is. If you want to live in a better neighborhood, the safety and the security that comes with that better neighborhood has a higher price tag. You need to be able to pay more for it. And you need to have a personal relationship with God.
Yes.
Because that is the only thing that can actually heal us and set us free and give us the skill set and the strength and the love.
Yep. The common sense, the wisdom.
Common sense, the wisdom, the everything.
Yes.
To live a life that is free. To not be controlled by manipulation, by people or institutions that have their best interest at heart and not ours, that want to control your life and send you in directions you don't want to go. And when you put those three things together, when you're healthy, when you have resources, and when you have God behind you, you're
talk about a
unstoppable.
combo.
You
oh
are
my gosh.
Unstoppable.
Okay, honey.
Nothing can come against you.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful thing, because it's like, you know, even the health aspect, you know, with the Lord, with Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, you know, it's like we tell people the truth, but we are not healers. You know, he alone heals. He alone saves.
Totally.
You know, he alone is the great physician. He alone is the one that can actually, you know, provide for you in your finances. And he can send people, you know, and this is one of the things that we do. Like, we help people, like, maybe with their finances, with their health, with their this, with their that. Yeah. Like, we take the holistic approach. And, you know, we do that through, you know, biblical, godly principles. And we do that, you know, with love. We do that coming from a foundation that every person matters. And that every person, you know, has the right to life. Absolutely. You know, like if you're alive, you should get to live a beautiful life. Like, life can truly be beautiful. Anyone can have a beautiful life. For everyone. Anyone can have a prosperous life. Anyone can have a blessed life. Anyone can, you know, your life was meant to be lived. Your life was meant to be beautiful. Your life was meant to be purposeful.
Totally.
And, you know, that's the only way to live. And you can only do that with the help of Jesus.
For sure.
He's the only way. He is the way.
The only way I ever freaking could have done it.
Yeah, me too. Like, honestly.
That's for sure.
Like,
you know, some of y'all might be you know, a bit more special than me. But there's no chance. No chance.
Yeah.
No shot. Not a single % not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
With the way my life was going before Jesus and the way my life has gone after Jesus, two completely different, isolated paths that were never going to converge.
Me too.
With no hope of a better future. But now we got it.
Yes.
And that hope
that
you get when you have a relationship with Jesus, when you have a relationship with God, just knowing that even if it's hard now, it's going to get better.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's hard now, I got a God who loves me.
Yeah.
Even if it's hard now, I have somebody who's got my back, who's willing to die for me.
That's incredible.
That's nuts.
Willing, like, honestly.
And it's life-saving.
It is life-saving.
And when you pair the strength and the love and the hope and the faith and the joy and all the good stuff that comes with Jesus, with a healthy body, a healthy mind, and a healthy bank account, there's nothing that you cannot do.
You can do a lot of good, and it ties back, weaves back to that, community healing, heals, like, goes back to that, like, the healing of the communities and of our families. Yeah. And, it's like, we're not necessarily going to have every person agree and sing Kumbaya and all these things, but we can have the people around us be better.
For sure.
Our loved ones be better.
Yep.
And that starts with you, the individual. You have to have hope. You have to believe that your life can improve. You have to have, faith in the future, hope in the future, that, regardless of where you've been through, regardless of what you've been told, that you can be healthy, you can be whole, you can be saved, you can be, healed. You can be happy, you can be loved.
Totally.
And it's just, it's a really beautiful thing, like, to know it's like, doesn't it, like, all these distractions, your past, your background, your this or that, what you've been told, is like, you can be understood, you can be supported, like, life truly can be incredible. It really, really, really can.
And it's just, and we know that.
Yeah.
We're not just saying it because we've lived it, we've experienced it. Like, we have both come from very, very hard backgrounds. Not much of it was fun. And we have lived and fought and grown out of that. So we're not just saying things because they sound good. We're saying things and sharing stuff with you guys because it's worked for us. And we've seen it work for other people that we've taught this stuff to in the academy, friends, family, that kind of thing. And so we want to continue to share that and continue to pass it on and continue to give you guys encouragement, give you guys some helpful answers, give you guys some wisdom that we've been taught and that we've seen and we know works, because it's happened over and over and over and over and over again. And so the buck's not going to stop with you.
Yes.
So you take this stuff, you leave this stuff, you apply a few of these beliefs, you apply all these beliefs, you apply none of these beliefs. But either way, we're sharing them with you guys because we've seen them work over and over and over again. Yeah. And like we said in the beginning, these are things that we believe. This is not just like a fancy marketing slogan. This is something that we want everyone to have a good life, to have a long life, to be healthy, to be successful,
to be safe, to be whole, like, and to be happy.
These beliefs, these are not everything that we believe.
No.
But these are 10 of the really important ones. So why don't we just quickly recap our lists? You go first, I'll go first, and then we'll close out.
Yep, sure. Okay. So, some of them just tied together. But number one, every soul matters.
Every soul matters.
Number
Period.
two, like, every part of your body matters, and that shouldn't be ignored. Like, your bodily and physiological and mental and emotional needs, like, shouldn't be ignored just based on, like, trends or culture or anything of the sort. Holistic healing is the only way to heal. In our opinion, that's just to really heal.
Long term.
To really heal, longevity wise.
Put a Band-Aid on it. Like, let stuff go.
Like, to really truly improve. That's what we believe. Mental and physical health go hand in hand. You can't separate the two. Anyone can be healthy. Having a healthier body requires a healthier mind, a stronger character, higher standards, forgiveness, and a positive self-image. Genetics play a part in our health. Some of these we didn't go too much into, but they do not dictate our health. We can have true freedom in our wellness, regardless of who our parents or family or background are. Yep. Anyone can live life to the fullest. anyone can wake up happy every day. Anyone can have fulfillment, and anyone can be loved and supported and understood. Anyone can have a bright future. We believe that our communities and families can be healed, and becoming healthy and free is one of the biggest elements to that. And lastly, Jesus Christ is our Lord and Savior. And while we tell people the truth about health, He alone heals, He alone saves, He alone sets us free, and He alone is the great physician.
Oh, yeah. For mine, the best way to live a longer life and perform better in your life is by living a holistic lifestyle that makes your gut and brain health a part of the way that you live instead of just a program that you follow. That your mental wellness directly limits your longevity, and you cannot separate the health of your mind from the health of your body. They go hand in hand. That you are not a man or a woman, not a man unless you are strong and kind, and you cannot be either of those things unless you are a man or woman filled with love.
Amen.
That sales is a skill everyone should learn and get really good at, because it allows anybody to regain control over their income, and because of that, their options and their future in life. And that every family in the world should have freedom to live a good life because it's a God-given right, and that can only happen if somebody is healthy, if they're wealthy, and if they have a personal relationship with God.
Amen.
And when you put all that stuff together, you guys get a glimpse into how and why over the past, 4, 5, 6, 7 years, our lives, in our opinions, have gotten wildly better.
Oh, yeah, I will definitely confirm that. That's
my life right now is so much better than I literally thought was possible for my life 10 years ago. Not even better than what I hoped for, better than what I wanted, better than literally what I thought was possible. How I feel, how I think, how my body moves, my happiness, my outlook on life, my future. And it is because of the way that we think and the way that we believe, and because that dictates our behavior, our choices, our work ethic, etc.
It's our Northern Star.
It's our Northern Star.
Your beliefs are your Northern Star. And it's like, you're going to have so many things come up in life. But when you keep heading down, that narrow path where that Northern Star leads you, then you're just going to get closer and closer to where you need to be.
Absolutely.
Beautiful.
Absolutely. Awesome. This has been the ReVitalized Podcast.
ReVitalized Podcast.
ReVitalized Podcast.
ReVitalized Podcast.
ReVitalized.
ReVitalized Podcast. Okay, that's enough. Gosh, Justin.
Thank you guys for watching. Thank y'all for being here. Thank you for being the best audience, the best listeners, the best viewers. We appreciate you guys. Like it if you liked it. Didn't dislike it if you didn't like it. Comment your thoughts, your feedbacks, your questions.
What are your, 10 core beliefs?
Yeah.
Something that you want to share.
We appreciate all the engagement you guys give us on this podcast, on these episodes, when you share, when you like, when you comment. It really helps us and the channel to reach more people. So if you got value from this, please share it with somebody else that you think can also get value from it. And together, we will get more good news out to more good people.
Aw, amen.
That's a tweet.
Okay, thank you guys.
You guys have a great day.
Have a good one.
See y'all next time.